Welcome back to the Morning Show here on the Rise News, and we're going straight to another conversation this morning, very important, and we're going to take it from where we left a couple of weeks ago.
Yes. Indeed. Now, despite the visit by President Muhammadu Buhari to South Africa with a call to beef up protection of foreign nationals, weeks after horrific xenophobic attacks on foreign nationals living in South Africa, especially Nigerians, the tension between Africa's leading economies, 4 Nigerians have reportedly sustained injuries in another of xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
I can't believe we're still talking about this. The president of the Nigerian Union South African NUSA, Adetola Olubajo, confirmed the attacks which took place at the Witback area of Mpumalanga province on Tuesday. According to him, no death was recorded, but there was a loss of property and people were injured. A week ago, Ikenna Otugo, a Nigerian entrepreneur, was killed in the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. And just in September, 490 Nigerians were evacuated from South Africa as a result of xenophobic attacks.
You're very correct. You're talking from Mpumalanga to KwaZulu-Natal to every part of South Africa. This continues, and that's why we have joining us today Seyi Adeyemo, a Public Affairs Analyst, who was here during the xenophobic attacks and when President Muhammadu Buhari visited South Africa. Welcome, Seyi. But before we get started, let's listen to your positive assertions about the visit of President Muhammadu Buhari to South Africa a couple of weeks ago.
The President took it upon himself to honor the invitation of President Ramaphosa was a very, very good thing. And it is the start of a very good time that I believe will happen. And the part I'm most excited about is that all of us have signed on, and we're not just going to allow them do it.
Oh, yeah? All of us are signed on. Very exciting times. What happened in Mpumalanga? What happened in KwaZulu-Natal? I mean, a lot of people will say, watching us here, say you gave very strong assurances, because when we went to watch the video game, some South Africans even went up there and said, she is talking our language. You gave very strong assurances that this will never happen again.
If I
hold you by your word. You said it.
I'm happy that this is on video and we're able to look at it. You see, the truth of the matter is, I give an example, of this to several people that I've spoken to over time. It's like you marrying or married to someone, and he said, oh, my wife has done this and done that and done that, so I'm going to divorce her. You see, the truth of the matter, and we must be clear about it, the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa is like marriage. This is for better and for worse. We've signed on it, like I said. I believe this is a positive move. The heads of state are committed to it. A lot of levels are also signed on it, and we're committed to, and a lot of things has been done. As we speak, there are at least 15 Nigerian travel agents that are in South Africa today. They were there last week. All of these are moves. The High Commissioner have been changed. A lot of things are being done so that this... Was
it on the heels of xenophobia that the High Commissioner was changed?
A lot of things are being done, and they can't fully explain some of them to us. But the truth of the matter is moves are being made. So that cannot completely stop one or two things happening between people. And those are things we need to be careful about. I think we need to be careful about the way we manage information around. So I have a problem with Rufai. And it suddenly becomes something that happened between our clans. No, we should not take advantage of the fact that something is happening right now. And so we're able to quickly jump and say to the world, oh, they're killing Nigerians again. No, that's not true. That is not true. If you read that report very well, the president of the association said that this was a criminal thing. In other words, they felt or had a problem with certain people, and they took it upon themselves and went after somebody, individuals. And government have moved into it. So that cannot be a representation of what South Africa, or that cannot negate what has been signed on. Definitely not. This happened between people. And so we need to be careful. So there will be things, there will be argument. Because we have signed on a treaty or that we have made an agreement does not mean that people will not quarrel.
Okay.
And they would, yes, please.
I want to hold you by your word, because you mentioned something about, it being a marriage.
Yes.
And just to buttress the fact here, it was a criminal activity, and they went to look for this person. However, Nigerians living in that vicinity who had businesses were attacked that had absolutely nothing to do with this criminal activities. You said it's a marriage for better or for worse. Now, that's a good thing when it's for the better. However, if people believe that no matter what we do, Nigerians are still going to be here because we have arrangements with them. Yeah. It's like they haven't learned their lesson. So this will continue to go on. I just feel like the Nigerian government is not really doing, and we're talking about travel agencies. These are people's businesses. Thank God no lives were lost
It will not continue. You see, we're talking about 3 weeks. And I think we should not be too preemptive. I agree that we're talking about people's life and people's business. And for me, that is very serious. In fact, one person's life is very sacred as far as I'm concerned. But then these are steps and processes. And a lot of things that have been done will not just happen overnight. We must be ready to deal with it. So people continue to behave in a particular way for several years. They're not going to all of a sudden, overnight, start to behave in a different way. But what would make the difference is that seriousness is being put into this, and a lot of positive steps are being taken. And then I think we should start to judge this after maybe 6 months and say to ourselves, all right, is this better, or are we better off or not? But I think 3 weeks is still a little bit too early to say, oh, it's not working. No, it is working.
How long should we give it?
I said 6 months. Pick me back in 6 months, and we all here will be celebrating.
That's if we don't have another killing if we don't have another killing in London very soon, or Pretoria.
Well, there was one killing, a phone repairer, a Nigerian, that criminal activity in Mpumalanga province. Thank you. Yeah. This was not only on Nigerians, it was on Africans, but 4 Nigerians sustained injuries. And just looking at the businesses that were affected, vandalized or burnt, we're talking about spare parts dealership, shoe restaurant, a grocery shop, and a Nigerian foodstuff shop. It is true that even brothers will fight. But when you now go for businesses, it's the same rhetoric we see all the time. And last time you were here, I also asked you this question. There's an underlying factor of unemployment, slow economic growth between both countries. You still seem optimistic that things are being done. Does it look like these things are trickling down to people-to-people relationship?
I'm happy that we're doing this because, for whatever it's worth, this is our responsibility to make sure that we keep our government in check. So obviously, everything still is at the table of both heads of state. They're meant to show all of us leadership and say to us that they are willing to make sure that this marriage works.
Do you think they left something out of this assurances they both agreed upon? Was there something left between the deliberations?
It's not a function of just assuring. It's a function of doing certain things and ticking certain boxes, which will be they'll tick those boxes over time. And so you're not going to have all of the results in a day. So the thing is, can we keep doing this? That I believe is very healthy and is responsible to make sure that they do to this matter those things they've promised us that they will do. And for me, I believe that this can continue. Let us make noise. In fact, in all of the things that concerns us as a people, I think all of the things that have happened is a function of the fact that we've been complacent. We've been quiet. So I like the fact that this noise is this loud. Let us keep the noise loud and say to Mr. President, President Muhammad Buhari, sir, this has happened again, so what step are you taking? President Cyril Ramaphosa, this has happened again, what are you doing? Because truth of the matter is, they signed, they made us sign, and we all committed to this thing. We're doing what we have to do. A lot of things, sports and things are being done, entertainment things are being done. At the point of policy, at political level, we expect that they also deliver as well. And please, I enjoin you, let us keep all.
Sorry, please, speaking about things that are being done, I remember the last time you were here, we spoke about early warning mechanisms. And I asked you, because I didn't understand what that meant. And you said we shouldn't preempt, the federal government. Okay, so now we have this situation on ground. How has those early warning mechanisms signed?
It's the reason why the chairman of the Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Bika Dabiri-Erewa, stepped into it because of that signal, because of that early warning.
But she said it has not been implemented.
No. So she said that they would activate it on the side.
So it's not the reason
why they got the information that early and they stepped into it was because of that early.
No, and I must say, what do you mean early? Somebody died. We fail to realize that somebody died, a life was lost, and you call that early? How many more people will die?
Rufai, let me, like I said, I like the fact that we're this responsive to this. But we also must understand that when we are dealing with a very, very important issue as such as this, you're not going to have everything just, go overnight. It won't happen. So, yes, it is good to be apprehensive. It is good, but we also must be responsible so that we are careful, not because of how badly we're feeling and we're burning out. Look, as we speak, let me give you a very, very good example. I don't know anyone, but I know that there's a Nigerian somewhere in South Africa who is building a future and a family there now, as we are speaking. And the person is saying, God, make this work. So as we put all of this together, may we take those people in consideration as well. As we cater for those who are dead, let us cater for those who are trying to build a future for themselves as well.
But you see, I mean, the look of this, and I'm sure they're watching us in South Africa, the look of this, and why it always looks very funny to me, is the fact that the relationship always looks skewed. It always looks as though South Africa benefits more than Nigeria in the relationship. It always looks as though we are the one trying to make peace, going cap in hand.
The battered wife trying to hold on to the husband.
It always looks as though you call this a marriage. We are the ones trying to save this relationship. But when you look at it, inversely, it should be the other way around. We are the country that has well over 100 million people. We are the very enterprising people. So why does it look that way? And you know what they say about perception? Perception is reality. And that's the way it looks to me.
Okay. So I like the fact that you said do. And I like the fact that we all have agreed that we should go the marriage way. Now, the reason why most of our mothers dance a lot at marriages is because a lot of things that they had gone through whilst the marriage was on is something that they cannot even explain to anyone. And that's why at the end of the day, certain fathers don't get the kind of attention and kind of care that mothers get because they sacrifice the most. Look, the truth of the matter is because Rufai has chosen to behave in a particular way does not mean that I should change my person.
Mr. Adeyemo, we'll go on a quick commercial break and I'll be right back to discuss some more, looking at the way forward this time around. Join us again. You're watching The Morning Show here on Arise News. Welcome back to the show. We're still having a studio with us, Seyi Adeyemo, Public Affairs Analyst, discussing the renewed attacks on Africans, especially Nigerians in South Africa. Thank you so much for staying with us. You have said we should go the marriage way, things are in motion, but this is not even just about Nigerians because hundreds of nationals of other countries have been camped in front of the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, for weeks, begging to leave South Africa, that they are not safe, that there's actual xenophobic attacks are real, xenophobia is real in South Africa. We cannot shy away from it. So it's not just a Nigeria problem. It's an African problem that's happening in South Africa. You still say that things are in motion. Okay, I'll give you that. Things are in motion. But the reality on ground, how do we ensure that South Africa does not keep apologizing to Nigerians, Nigeria, and other African countries? There has to be a check. How do we ensure that South Africa stops this? A lot of people have said sue the country. Some say compensation. Some say sanctions from AU and the United Nations. Do you think that these are measures we can take?
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the fact that you went the African way because I'm African and I love Africa. And truth of the matter is, in fact, I can take on somebody else's supposed country on their behalf and say, look, you're messing up for your country. So in this case, for me, I think, like I said earlier, let us keep doing this. Let us take on Mr. President's Cyril Ramaphosa and say to him, sir, this has happened again. What are you doing about it? Can we get this done? Because it is not just your South Africa, it is our Africa, it's our African brand. And this relationship must work, not because of Nigeria, like you said, for the whole of Africa. So right now, one of the most important steps that we're already taking is this talking, is the fact that we have continued to keep everything in check. And let me also put this on the table. The fact that we're talking now has really, really affected a lot of things. All of the things that have happened so far, the reason why this is a lot of move and those things I'm talking about is happening is because of the loudness. As much as I criticize social media, it's what? It's the fact that a lot of things were thrown out there, some of them right, some of them wrong, but they churned everything out. Now, because that is there and there was so much force, that is why this is. So can we keep the tempo on? Can we make sure we don't get tired? Because at the end of the day, if we all look away from this, like you said, it will continue. I pray not because of the moves that have been made, but if we keep the tempo on and say, Mr. President, we're holding you to the fact that you promised, Mr. Adeyemo, we're holding you to the fact that you promised, all of those people, let's keep all of that on.
Has this conversation been had? Because these attacks actually happened about a week ago. Yeah. So you're saying, oh, let's ask the president, or let's tell the president, oh, this has happened, what's being done? Do we need to wait for that to happen? The same thing happened when he went for the funeral service in Zimbabwe. He was already addressing the people, and then until they started to boo him, that was when he took it upon himself to actually apologize to Africans. So there's also this lackadaisical behavior on their part. Why are we the ones saying, oh, this is what has happened? It's obvious that this is a problem. They should be the one coming to us saying, you know what, this is what we're doing about it.
So since they did not do anything up till today and we have decided to talk, I'm saying, can we talk more? The truth of the matter is, it is clear that they had and they know, and everybody, there's nothing that is hidden from anyone. The thing about today is the news is out there. Everyone can read this. So I'm saying that because it's our Africa and this relationship is important to us and we believe that it must work because it is beneficial to all of us, let us keep on doing this so that we can get the results.
I'll take you back, I'll take you back. Early 80s.
Yeah.
There was a diplomatic compass between Nigeria and Britain. He pounded a Nigerian plane in the UK.
Because we were winning.
Yeah. And you know what we did?
Yeah.
We did the same.
Yeah.
There was a big diplomatic standoff. Nigeria stood to its former colonial master.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say that cost us a lot. You know, the visa-free arrangement with the UK, all of that was all gone.
Yes.
But some people will go back and tell you that Nigeria earned its dignity. I mean, they will have cancelled the visa arrangements anyway, with the influx of Nigeria when the economy got worse. Some people will say that did, put a stamp on Thatcher's government that Nigeria will not be pushed around.
Reciprocity.
Yeah.
Rufai,
and speaking of that reciprocity, do you know, somebody was telling me the other day at the American Embassy that you still pay that reciprocity fee. So it's just about standing up for ourselves in the International Committee of Things. That reciprocity that they brought out, when Nigeria reduced that, the Americans said, no, hell no, we're not going to reduce that. So you still take your cash. If you're doing the B1B, so you still take a 40,000 naira reciprocity cash and pay it there. You pay cash.
And so those are things that we have done, and today we're paying for them. Because those examples that you gave, if you know the kind of pains that those things, decisions that we took, are bringing on us, and that's why we're saying in this,
not standing for our rights.
In this case, can we be more conscious in the way we take steps, so that at the end of the day, years after, we'll not be paying, because that 40,000 that you say, people weren't paying those things. People could go and drop off there, but because we're irresponsible, because of the way we were dealing with them, that is what we're paying today, and that's why some of us believe that it is high time that we're more careful when we're dealing with issues.
Mr. Adeyemo, Winston Churchill said, and I quote, an appeaser keeps giving the crocodile meat, hoping it will eat him last. Are we not being appeasers? Are we not being appeasers too much?
No, so when you put those things together, because it's not enough to just quote those things. So these are life issues. They are our stories. So you can go and see some of these things that happen to us. When you go onto the table and you look at your strength, and you look at what you have to offer, and what you're going to get.
But Donald Trump gave a blanket ban on some countries. Those citizens don't come to our country. It's not life. Nobody made a song and dance about it. Americans still go into those places to do business. It's just because we are not economically viable. That's why the slant is down.
So you're able to accept that. You can't compare yourself with America. You don't go to a table and start shouting when you don't have anything that has your back.
So because of that, we shouldn't talk? We shouldn't have dignity?
I say talk, but talk with caution. Because at the end of the day, if you go out and say, oh, I can fight, when the fight comes, will you be able to stand? That's the point. So
in this case, South Africa?
I'm not saying in this case South Africa, because we're talking about a host of things. In this case South Africa, everybody knows that we can stand our own to them. I'm saying that as we deal with this relationship, can we be more cautious, knowing that it's not an outsider? Because if you take some people on in a particular way, I don't know the way it's said, you probably will not be able to go back and solve that problem. I think it's about in-law and all that. So when you are throwing your words up, you better be careful the kind of words you choose, because when the chips are down, would you have the courage to go back into that same house that you have brought down? That's what I'm saying. So now that this case is like this, as we negotiate, one of the things that we all must know is that this case will pass.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And this hurts me. Why must Nigeria constantly carry the begging bowl? Why?
Now, so in this case,
because it looks like that to me.
It looks like, but I can put it to you clearly that we're not begging anyone for anything. That's the truth. We're saying that it is the Yoruba people, and I beg your pardon, I like to use this. It will always say that Agbamangba. What it means is that the elder is the one that knows, because the elder is matured. The elder can see the future. The elder understands implication. The elder knows that when you do things in certain ways, there are repercussions that you cannot rewind. So the elder is usually the most wise. That is why Nigeria is who they are today. That is why we are the elder, we're the strongest, we're the biggest. And I'm proud to say anywhere that Nigeria, I'm proud of, because when we go into a situation, we don't go into it thinking that there won't be any tomorrow. So why would I want to go into a relationship and each time people are pointing out, they're saying, oh, so you're the rough one, so you're the tattered one. We have always shown ourselves as very matured people. And I think it's important that we hold on to that, because that is our strength, that is our identity, that is who we are, and I'm proud of it.
Okay, so I want to put this across to you, because you just gave us an adage, and there's also an adage that says that Nkoti Agbalagba Banri Towa Joko. That's if what a young person, an old person sees sitting down.
Yes.
A young person cannot see even if he climbs a tree.
Is why
is there something that you are seeing that we are not seeing that can put our minds at rest? Because it feels like if nothing is being done.
No. It's everything that we all can see together, and I'll put it to you. Truth of the matter is this: as you are, as Nigeria, you would always do business. So you know that our people, all of our heads of state in Africa have just gone to Russia, because nobody is going to sit down and fold their hands and look at Africa and not come to do business with us. What we are saying is we're better off dealing with South Africans and our African brothers rather than some of these other people. So they come smiling to us. At the end of the day, the point is, do we get the kind of deal that we'll get from Africans, particularly when you have the kind of strength that you have to deal with the South African in a particular business or bilateral agreement? You can cower them, you can shout at them like you're doing. You can't do that with Russia.
I would love to share your optimism, but we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed and hope that this doesn't recur again. Thank you so much.
6 months time, right?
6 months time, please bring me back and we'll talk about it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Seyi Adeyemo, for coming on the show today. Public Affairs Analyst. Well, that brings us to the end of the show today. Thank you to you for watching. I am Adesuwa Moran.
And I'm
Sheyi Adeyemo. Thank you for watching.